Okay.
I move that the council deny the rezoning application for the Cromwell PUD rezoning case R19-01.
Okay, and I need a second if we're going to discuss it.
Second, we can discuss it.
Then moved by Councilmember McKay, seconded by Councilmember Donald. Go ahead and discuss, Councilmember McKay.
Okay, I'm just going to lay this all out in terms of my concerns about this, and then hear from everybody else. First and foremost, as far as I'm concerned, in this area, the pipeline is full. We have 6,000 homes in the pipeline in that general area of the county. And another 2,000 age-restricted homes look in Frederick and Urbana. So we don't need more zoning right now. We used to have a good rule in this county. I guess it was an informal rule called the 90% rule. And basically, until you have housing permits on 90% of the land zoned residential, you don't add more residential zoning in the county. And what that did was it helped to regulate our growth. Okay, and we all know what happened a while back, and our growth was very highly unregulated. And that's why we have the situations we have, particularly in my district right now. We passed a revolutionary livable Frederick master plan. But here we are marching forward on this zoning request without having actually implemented any changes to our zoning ordinance, any meaningful changes. That affects our zoning changes. We passed that bill, but it's not effective yet in terms of its application to this zoning request. And that's why I made the arguments I did back then about grandfathering and such. This development is labeled suburban retrofit, but according to the language that my clear reading of the livable Frederick master plan, we're supposed to have community and corridor plans first that designate suburban retrofit opportunities and the strategies therein. So we've not done that as an aspect of implementing livable Frederick master plan. I strongly object to acquiescing in the notion that 600 homes on 160 acres is infill development. I mean, if we're going to call that infill, we can, sky's the limit on what we call infill as far as I'm concerned. Comp plan consistency. The developer cited a few dozen supporting initiatives, but only one from the environmental section. I count 10 supporting initiatives in the environmental section that would be contrary to this proposal. And I think that when we're talking about developing the last kind of undeveloped space around Lake Linganore, that environmental section needs to be really heavily considered in comp plan consistency, and I don't think it has been. I'm not satisfied with the transportation adequacy argument, particularly with what will occur on 144 between Meadow Road and Mussiter. I wasn't convinced by the staff report on that point, and the applicant submitted a traffic impact statement, but it was submitted so late in the process that I have questions. I think I found factual errors in it, but I can't get those resolved because we're past that point in the process. So I have to put that TIS and just kind of shunt it aside as not really contributing to my deliberations here. Lake Linganore Boulevard. So I get it. I see the value of having that road there. But here's the thing. Thousands of homes were approved in this area. And now we find that we have to approve 600 more to fix the road network by adding in this link of Lake Linganore Boulevard. So if that's the case, then how could the road network have been assessed as adequate for all those homes that were approved previously? When we talk, and there's two ways to look at this. And part of it is in the zoning ordinance, and this is why I wanted those words planned and budgeted or planned and funded, inserted into that zoning ordinance amendment we did, because when we look at transportation adequacy, and considering, what we know to be coming forward in terms of roads, it's got to be more than a dashed line on a comp plan map. There has to be some reality to it. Like we know it's going to get built, not we hope it will. And because we hope it will, we're going to say it's adequate. We got to move away from that. But more importantly, I think it's just the model that we work with. And whether we're talking about roads or schools, we're constantly approving new development to provide infrastructure to satisfy the needs of the last development. 600 new homes to build the road connection that makes everything else work in Linganore Town Center. and the surrounding area. And that's just not the right way to do it, in my opinion. If we want to do that, we should be focusing on building infrastructure first and then opening up for development. So for all those reasons, I just think this is premature. And that's why I think we should say no.